Hello! Happy Wednesday. How are we doing, everyone? Are we doing well? I was hosting a show every Wednesday, and last Wednesday the football was on. The semi-finals in the Euro 2020 championships, which is always weird to say because we're in 2021, but they, I guess, couldn't afford to change the branding. And so, yeah, I went live, and then I could hear screaming outside as England scored a second goal, and it was pretty empty on here. So I thought, you know what, it's probably not a good time to do a live show when most people are watching the football, and especially because it was around a topic of mental health and well-being. I said, let's just postpone it until the next week. Hey, Elsie, 2552 beats. Hope you are doing well, and for everyone who is watching, if you comment, all your comments appear in front of me and I can bring them up on the screen. So just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm trying to get into the flow of making content again on a regular basis, and so every Wednesday at this time I will be live. In the past it's just been called Myles Dyer Live, and I've just talked generally about things going on and gone with the flow with you. And then I decided maybe let's just have some topics. But with that said, even though this is about dealing with anxiety, that is the main topic of the show, but that doesn't mean that we can't cover a lot of other issues. So it's kind of a Q&A as well. So if you have things you want to talk about, just let me know, and that can work as well. Hello, Robert. Good to see you here. And William, Will and Gracie from Kentish Town. Good to see you. Yeah, let me know where you guys are from. I appreciate that a lot. It feels good to be doing this again. I'm really happy with my new setup. And just as I was really starting to nail things, hey Charlotte, thank you for stopping by. As I was getting with the flow of things, I became quite ill the last few weeks. I'm still dealing with it. And I think it's one of the main reasons I wanted to talk about anxiety today, because just to sort of go into a little bit of detail of what's been going on. I think it was 27 days ago now, I had my second vaccine for COVID. The first one I had, no issues whatsoever. The second one, I had flu symptoms for about 24 hours. And then after that, my energy has just been through the floor. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've now been having heart palpitations. I've got a tight chest. As I speak with you right now, I feel it here. And in the last week, it's just got really bad where I'm not sleeping much. I wake up at 4 in the morning and then I can't just sit still. And I've really become familiar with the concept of health anxiety. I don't know how many of you are aware of health anxiety, but as the name suggests, it's when you worry a lot about your health. And we all have moments like that. I've had times where I've been in the shower and I'm just, start thinking about my heartbeat. And, I think about, when I think about the heart, I think, this is a very typical Myles thing to say, but, the heart is an incredible thing. Not only that it keeps you alive by constantly beating, but, the Olympic torch has supposedly been kept alight for generations and generations, and they keep the fire burning and then they pass it on to another torch. That's kind of how your heart is. Your heart has been beating or continuing a beat from the start of mankind, because when parents have their hearts beating, they have a baby, the baby's heart starts beating, and it's like passing the torch on. And so it's pretty remarkable that we've developed these very reliable organs. And so, yeah, you can start thinking about things a bit too much. And so the annoying thing about the situation I'm currently in is I've been experiencing a tightness of the chest, heart palpitations, and what is associated with anxiety. Tightness of the chest, shallow breathing, heart palpitations. So it's really annoying. But the reason I didn't jump to anxiety straight away is when I normally feel anxious, in my mind, I'm aware that I'm anxious, like there will be something I'm actually worrying about. Whereas in this case, I'm like, I don't really think there is. But I have had a lot going on in my life lately, in my personal life, that I've had to be dealing with. So that's probably brought some stress. And, your body responds to stress in different ways. Sometimes it isn't you consciously thinking about it. It can sometimes just be how your body reacts. So the conversation today is dealing with anxiety. I've got lots of tips, but obviously tips that work for me don't always work for everybody else. And so I just wanted this to be a bit of a conversation. So even if you're someone who perhaps doesn't experience anxiety, and there can be a line, a soft line between worrying and anxiety, and we can talk a bit about that as well. So if you have actual questions for this discussion, so you might not have a question about anxiety specifically, but you might say, can we talk about this aspect? Let me know. And I just want to say hi to John from California. I've actually poured myself a G&T. I've not been drinking a lot lately because of that, but I thought I want to relax today. So a nice refreshing drink. What vaccinations did I get? I got the AstraZeneca one. Now, most people my age range have been getting Pfizer and Moderna, but I got mine offered early. When you get told you have underlying health conditions that you're unaware of, it does make you question. But I believe it was because of my head injury and sort of the mental health issues that surrounded it. But, when you're offered a vaccine, you take it. So, yeah. This is my first time joining one of your live streams as someone who suffers with anxiety. This is a wonderful thing. Well, we're going to have a great conversation today. And as I said, what works for one person doesn't work for somebody else. But just sharing your experiences will be echoed. I'll bring it on screen. If you want to share something and you don't want me to put it up on screen, then you can just put a little note, in brackets before your comment. And then, I can read that as well. But also today, so it's not all just, deep and serious issues. I discovered this week that I am now in a PlayStation game. A PlayStation virtual reality game. And I am going to talk to you about it. And I've actually got a video that I'm going to play of me discovering it. And I was crying with laughter so much that I couldn't really see much in my VR headset. But it's a really cool story. So, I really look forward to talking about that. Actually, before I press on, don't forget you can follow me on Instagram at Myles Dyer Official. Instagram is where I am. And although I don't post a lot on my actual feed, I do post a lot on my stories. Myles Dyer Official is my Facebook. I wanted to actually broadcast on this and Facebook simultaneously, which I am able to do with it, but I do need a yearly subscription, so I'm going to wait for that. And then Twitter. Don't really use Twitter. I've been using it a bit lately to retweet stuff, but I don't really post on it. Have you been to the doctors at all about your heart palpitations? I've been getting them since I had my Pfizer vaccine 4 weeks ago. I feel fine otherwise. Is there a reason to be concerned? So, I went to my doctor a couple of weeks ago, and it was a phone interview, and he said that he doesn't feel there's any reason to be concerned. It could be just worrying in that, but he said book yourself in for an ECG. For those of you that don't know, an ECG, do you know what? I don't actually know what it stands for off the top of my head. An ECG test stands for electrocardiogram. Of course it does. I was looking for 3 words. And that's where they put the pads on you, and then they just measure they put them on your wrist and your ankles, and they measure the sort of the pulse going around your body, the heartbeat and that. So I had that done on Thursday of last week, and then on Monday I got a text saying, unfortunately, you're going to have your ECG again. That there was a poor trace test, which was annoying because when I had it done, the nurse asked me to stay in the room while they went to check and make sure it was all right, and then I was offered to go. So I spoke to the doctor on Monday of this week, and I said, look, we said we were going to come back to this. So I'm booked into an ECG on next Monday, and I'm also getting a blood test. But he did say come in on yesterday. So I went to the doctor's yesterday morning. God, it feels like such a long week. And he just, used, he just measured my heart, listened in, and for my lungs, he says there's no issues there. But he says what is going to happen is they're going to give me an ECG, blood test, see if there's anything there. And then if I want, I could have a 24-hour ECG because I've been having a lot of issues in the morning. So, when it comes to heart palpitations, I'm not even going to put like a quantity on it, but there are a lot of instances where you know, your heart is beating all the time, and sometimes you're just more aware of it, or sometimes you're in a stressful situation, or you feel a bit anxious and you can feel it. I was feeling it a lot when I was in bed, lying down on the mattress and feeling it beat against it. So I sort of hug my pillow in a way. But I do think there are other conditions. Like, I spend a lot of time at home on my own. I've been having stress, you know, job hunting and stuff like that. So all this sort of stuff can add on. But I've reduced the amount of like strenuous exercise I do, but I still go out for walks every day. And doing stuff like this with you today is really good for my mental health and stuff. So, you know, I'm just trying to tick all the boxes. So I know that was quite a long answer to your question of should you be concerned. I would say if it persists, just, you know, call your doctor and try and have a phone call. Assuming, I don't know where you are in the world. I'm in the UK where, fortunately for the NHS, I can just call my doctor and have a conversation. I know for other people in other countries, it costs quite a bit of money, so that's not always possible. So yeah, I hope it lessens for you soon. You had Pfizer, M-Stack, second shot in mid-May. No issues so far. That's cool. So this is not to bring any worry or alarm, but what I tend to hear with a lot of the vaccines is if you feel something on one, you won't on the other, and vice versa. So there's a lot of people that, you know, had it knocked out of them for the first one, and then the second one they were fine. For me, it was the other way around. The first one, I had no issues whatsoever. The second one, that's really hit me hard. So yeah, if you're watching, say hello in the chat. It'd be great to meet you all, and especially if you're new to my channel. You know, if you're new to my channel, say I'm new, and again, I'd love to say hello. But yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about anxiety in terms of dealing with it, and I'm happy to take any questions. If you have a question, just put a Q at the beginning of your comment, and then I can favourite it here, and then I can go back to it if I go into a bit of a tangent. Hey Joshua, it's good to see you here. And then in about 20 minutes time, I will show you, so stay tuned for this, I will show you the footage of me being in a virtual reality game with the backstory, which is, I find it amusing, and most people I've shown it to laughed a lot as well. So when it comes to anxiety, and you know, I'd like to see, you know, your contributions in the discussion. You know, when it comes to anxiety, what brings it on? Yeah, is it something that suddenly hits you and you're like, wow, I'm feeling really anxious? Or is it something that creeps up? And the best way I've always described anxiety is, it's kind of like this dark cloud. It's like a black hole or something which just absorbs energy. And I find that if you put your attention towards the anxiety, so you think about the anxiety, it sort of takes all your mental energy and it grows more and more, and it can build up so much. And, you know, that can become problematic. And so I find that when it comes to dealing with anxiety, it's all about where is your focus, where is your attention. And a really simple example would be when, you know, you hear, you know, we all lose people we love in life who pass away. And what do you hear them, you know, talk about often? It's about, I'm just trying to keep busy. And that's a really important thing in life, is keeping busy, doing things. It shifts your attention away from the inside. And I really do want to return to making mental health videos on a lot of topics. And one I've wanted to talk about for the longest time, I call it, it's a term I've coined called brain friction. It could be mental friction. And it's the idea that you've got this like disc spinning in your brain, and the more and that spinning is of thoughts going round and round in your head. And if you don't communicate it and, you know, get it off your chest, either, you know, going for some exercise or writing it down or speaking to a friend, it stays in your head and it keeps spinning. And when it's spinning, it is grinding against your brain, and it's creating heat, it's creating friction, and that's when it can cause damage. And I find myself in a lot of traps where things keep spinning in my head and it just can spiral out of control. And in the example I gave about health friction, health anxiety, that is An example. Oh, I can feel heart palpitations. What could that be? Could that be really bad? What if it's bad? And then you just start going round and round. Whereas instead, now I'm thinking, okay, this is here with me. I'm just going to do some mindfulness meditation. I search health anxiety meditation on YouTube, and there's a lot of good guides, and a lot of them are focusing on different sensations in your body. Just catching up here. Have I tried antidepressants? I have never done antidepressants in my life. That's not because I disagree with them. I've been offered them by doctors, but often when I have a conversation with them, I say that right now I think that my recovery can be improved from environmental factors, going for walks and taking care of myself. If that doesn't work, then I might reconsider it. So I've never gone to it, but I'm not against it. I've personally been worried sometimes how quick doctors were to recommend it. And that's not to say, again, it's a bad thing, like doctors know. But I just find that I think we live in a society where a lot of our negative thoughts and depressive tendencies are exacerbated by an environment which is, sometimes lacking compassion for ourselves and the necessities of life when it comes to mental health and well-being. And it's why we need to always look at ways to improve it, because like a lot of things, mental health and well-being is not something you enact once you're depressed. I mean, obviously you do once you're depressed, but it's something we should practice as much as we can to ensure we prevent ourselves getting to those places. I have exercises that were given to me from the NHS because I used to get damage or pain in the small of my back, and sometimes I'd be bedbound. It was absolutely agonizing. So they say, here are some core exercises you should do every day. So I'd start doing them, and then I kind of stopped, and then months later I'd start getting pain in the back. I better start doing the exercises. Okay, it might have helped a little bit, but by then it's too late. You've already got the things coming on. Hey Sophie, well, I haven't seen any of your videos in a long time, years even. Nice to see you. Well, it's good to see you. And I found that every week I've been doing these live streams, it's been sent out to different subscribers of mine from over the years. So it's always lovely to see old faces, and I can say that because I've been around 15 years and I'm an old face. And it feels good to be doing this. And so, I brought my podcast back, The Quest for Empathy. I'm doing these every Wednesday, and I even want to bring back Doc Watch, but just one step at a time. I've got a lot going on in my life at the moment, and it's all about baby steps. You got to be good for yourself. Paxil. What is Paxil? And vitamin B. Vitamin B's good. I have vitamin D tablets at the moment, which was obviously a big talking point with COVID, but really good. Thinking about my anxiety makes me anxious, so I'm going to head off. But I'm sorry, Sophie. But that literally gets to my point about once we internalize anxiety, it can make us focus on it. And so it's really important that when we talk about anxiety, we think about the things that we can shift our attention to instead. I assume she's left now because that was a few minutes ago. Just realised your voice is strangely similar to Addy Puddingham, the Headspace guy, soothing and informative. I appreciate that. And it was one of the reasons I went into doing the podcast. And I would love to do mindfulness meditations. So, yeah, and especially now I've got this professional microphone as well, especially when you talk really close to the mic, it can really get the, I'm going to say the flavour of the voice, but you get the sort of the depth of it and things like that. And I have done some guided meditations before. And I really enjoyed it, so maybe I should do it more officially. But I need to find some mindfulness music to go in the background, so maybe I should go on the YouTube studio and have a look there. I was recommended either therapy or meds, so at the time I went for meds because I didn't have the time, but I went for a low dose. And that's the thing as well, it's not just like meds is a one size fits all. There are different ways of doing it, which is really, really important. So yeah, so when it comes to anxiety, it's always about where your attention is. And so I always think a good way of doing it is having a schedule for your day. Like if you're having a bad moment, just get a pen and paper like I do, and then do a list and say, right, this is the time. And the list doesn't need to be big tasks, yeah? When I wake up in the morning, my task list will include having a shower, making my bed. And they might seem like really ridiculous things, but just the psychology of crossing them off, very small things, feels like a tiny bit of motivation, and then it will scale up as you do bigger and bigger tasks. And it just gets you on a roll with your mind externally. Robert says, I think your approach is a good one. I am a psychiatric doctor myself, and I do not by any stretch think antidepressants are the whole story when it comes to recovery, but can significantly help people. Well, I mean, it's great hearing it from someone who is a psychiatric doctor, and I've always stressed, which I think a lot of people don't stress enough on social media platforms, is when they're giving advice, you've always got to be clear about your background. I did a psychology degree, but I'm not a doctor, and I would always recommend, if people are in really difficult situations, to speak to a professional. That's always really important. But yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. I've been on fluoxetine. I probably mispronounced that for a while now. It was an option that really helped me out after years of consideration. However, it is very important individuals find out what is right for them, as nothing is a one-size-fits-all. Absolutely. And that's the thing, is the diversity of experiences that we have online is kind of the double-edged sword of the internet. Once upon a time, when it was just television, there'd be like one main source that you would get information from, or it might be you go to a library and read up something, or you speak to a doctor. Now you have all this choice, and the positive of that is you can now probably find someone online who feels the way that you do and feels that way because of a similar experience to you, and that means you can get a really tailored prescription of experience and therefore tips and tricks that work for them. Now, again, nothing is a guaranteed, but the flip side of that is we're drowning in information, and especially with what I've been dealing with my heart palpitations, the worst thing you can do when I'm lying in bed at night is looking up, what does it mean when I've got a tightness of chest? Because then you just get loads of articles saying it could be a heart attack, and it's like, I don't need to hear that right now. And like, it's really interesting what I was talking about, mind friction, because I joke about that now and I feel totally cool about it because I'm externalizing it towards you. But if I was actually thinking that in my head, it's loads of articles about a heart attack, that then actually can become problematic. So for me, it's always about, how do you externalize stuff? Your brain is a powerful engine, and you need somewhere for steam to come out. So yeah, I definitely need to do a piece on brain friction. John says, you will probably get into this, but I'm struggling with feeling blue lethargic lately, and I know that exercise will help, but what kind of things to actually get my ass off the couch? So one of my favorite rules when it comes to like motivating yourself to do stuff, even going out, is this: just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And you can use that for anything. Like, this really is a great way to hit procrastination. So I'll give you an example. When I used to be signed up to the gym, I was very terrible at making it a regular routine. But when I didn't really want to go, I just said to myself, just do 5 minutes. So does that mean just do 5 minutes at the gym? No. And this probably sounds even weirder. From the moment I think it, just do 5 minutes. So in those 5 minutes, I've got my gym stuff. I've put it in a bag. I've got in my car, and I've started heading down to the gym. 5 minutes has passed. I'm probably just parking up outside the gym. So you're going, what? But that's not doing 5 minutes. Well, no, it is. It's doing 5 minutes of the task as a whole. And now the 5 minutes are over. I'm in the car park. Oh, am I going to go home? No. My brain thinks, well, I'm here now. I may as well do it. And I find that with any task you do, just do 5 minutes. Sometimes I don't know where I want to go for a walk. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for 5 minutes. Because far too often we look at the full scale of a task. Like, if I want to go for a long walk, I'm thinking, what 3 kilometers am I going to walk? Just go for a walk. If I need to go to the gym, I've got to do an hour of working out. An hour, what am I going to do? Just do 5 minutes at a time. And it's the same with any task. And that has really, really helped me when it comes to dealing with those mental barriers. Because, mental barriers are self-imposed. The only thing that your mind is talking or receiving info from is your own mind. The reality we live in is based on perceptions from sound waves and light. But your brain is the processing machine. That is where reality takes place. And so, like many things, a double-edged sword. It's very powerful, but it means that when it's not taken care of, and when it can start self-inflicting harm, that can be problematic. And so it's why we always have to be really mindful of it. I just want to say hello to everyone who's watching, because I've got on my stream deck here, I can see how many. So say hello if you're here. I love to speak to new people. I also noticed my camera's clipping a bit, but hopefully that fixes. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about how I ended up in a virtual reality game. So stay tuned for that. John said that's very good. Thanks, John. Hey all. Hey, Myles. Hope you're doing well. Depression recently kicked my ass, and it took a lot out of me to pull myself out of it. My anxiety has been all over the place too the last 2 years. So I'm curious, Mojo. Like, have you found patterns of what brings it on? So a pattern I found with my heart palpitation stuff is it tends to be when I'm in bed. And something that really helped me sleep last night was I actually closed the curtains and my blackout blinds. And that sounds really ridiculous, but for the longest time I have had the curtains open because I like the natural night light waking me up. But instead it's been waking me up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I can't get back to sleep. So that's something I've had to change. It's ironic that I've offered my daughters the same advice, but I can't think it myself. Dude, that is the most common thing ever. I mean, I'm a digital content strategist, right? I've done that for like 10, 15 years. So I've helped, big TV Hollywood celebrities, big organizations and companies and brands build their online audiences. But I don't take my own advice. And, that's for many reasons, but it's often, and actually what I've always wanted to do is be in a partnership with someone where they can keep me in check. And that is why we need community. It's why we need each other. It's why we need connection. So, it was a big part of my expressive insight project I developed when I was at university, which funny enough is actually really connected with like the Compassionate Mind Foundation and what they do. And it was the premise that far too often you can give advice to other people dealing with stuff, and then when you deal with that same stuff, you can't take it yourself. And it's because your mind is in a cloud. And so you kind of want, like, you want a wall that you can throw a tennis ball at, and when you catch it, the feeling of catching it, you know what you're dealing with. And therefore you need to start seeing yourself in third person. So expressive insight was all about, when you're feeling down, just record a video of you explaining your problems. It doesn't have to go online. It doesn't have to be anywhere. And then just watch it back, because by watching it back, you see yourself in third person. And then you're like, oh, actually, I can see what my problem is. And you can start giving help. And it works on the other side as well, because when it comes to self-compassion, think of all the things you can criticize you. You might say you're stupid or ugly or fat or a pain or a waste of space, or all these sort of things. You would never say that to a friend or a relative that came to you and said they were feeling low. You'd be horrified if you told it to them. And yet we tell ourselves these stories all of the time. And why is it? It's because there is something going on in the brain where we are not treating ourselves as an individual. There's a different relationship going on there. And so by externalizing things, you then have something to respond to. And that's really at the crux of my philosophy over the last 15 years, especially with the internet, of how we get through things when it comes to mental health and well-being. Hey, Kristen, good to see you here. Hope you are well. Reese, hello. Good to see you here. Mojo was saying it's honestly can differ from what triggers it. So, but, sometimes it is just random things. But, sometimes there's a pattern. Sometimes it could be a fear of the unknown. Sometimes it could be a lack of control. Sometimes it's association with things. And Mojo, people would appreciate that. It's really, really good. I need to get myself some blinds that open at a specific time. Actually, yeah, I forgot about that sort of stuff. That could be really good. I actually have a Philips Hue light on my bedside table, and I was hoping that it would actually turn on like daylight when it wakes up with this sleep app I use, but it doesn't work at the moment. There is a specific device you can use, but I just wanted to buy the bulb, which would have been really, really cool, because it sort of just projects daylight. Really good in the winter and stuff like that. So, seriously, any questions or any points of discussion you have around dealing with anxiety, please do keep them going in the chat. If you have questions about anything else, feel free to ask, and we can return to this in a bit. But now for a bit of fun, okay? I have put together a video. So on the PlayStation 4, when you're in VR, there's a button you press that records video of like the last 5 minutes and stuff. And on the PlayStation 5, I've not been able to get it working, so I actually live streamed this on a lunch break on Twitch just so I had a recording, and the quality isn't particularly great, and so I've used some screenshots at places and some stuff just to show some additional context. But I am a part of a community called PlayStation VR Without Parole, PSVR Without Parole. It's a great VR community. They're actually going live in 90 minutes time, so I will be tuning into it, and I actually run their Instagram page at the moment. It's a great community because PlayStation VR and VR generally reminds me of what YouTube used to be like 15 years ago. I was one of 100 vloggers. We all knew each other. There was a real tight-knit community. And in terms of the developers love joining Discord, which is where there's all the conversations, and getting feedback because they're small independent people. So there is a game on PlayStation VR, and I'm not going to explain too much because the video will explain it, but just to give a bit of background, there is a game called Boxed In, and it is a simple puzzle game where you have a wall of blocks, different coloured blocks coming towards you, and you've got to match them in rows of 3 to make them disappear. So you've got to get rid of the blocks before they come so close that they touch the wall behind you or crush you. And very simple game, but really good fun. And there was so much love from the PSVR Without Parole community. Richard Smith, who was the developer on it, I think there was a question in one of the live shows of what would you like to see in VR, and someone said like unicorns and pineapples. And so he created an island in the game that you could get to by crushing yourself into the wall and then pressing some buttons. And it had all these tributes to the hosts of the show, and also, other Easter eggs. And so I made a joke in Discord one day. If I get the Platinum Trophy, which is what you get in PlayStation games, that is when you've got all the achievements, I said, if I get the Platinum Trophy and complete the game, could I request something to be added to the game? And Richard said, sure, Myles. I mean, if you just want your full name written on the shed, I can do that. But, as long as it doesn't take too much time. So I had this funny suggestion, which I won't go into now because it's not relevant. It was like related to the community. But because he said, as long as it's something that doesn't take up too much time, I just said, oh, I was just thinking this. And then I came up with something that was really ridiculous and time consuming. And I put joke and stuff like that. And nothing else was said of it. And then I get a message from the developer, was it yesterday? And he says, I've just done an update. I didn't look at the patch notes. You want to go on it? And he'd already sent me a photo of something in the ocean. So I knew that I would have to click on it. And with all that said, this is what happened. And while I play it, I'm just going to quickly shut the windows to stop moths coming in. But this is a video that will sort of give all that context of what exactly happened. So enjoy. Hey everyone, hope all is well. I am currently on a lunch break in Boxed In, a great VR puzzle game where you have blocks moving towards you and you have to make matches to erase them and try and get a high score. Now, a little bird has told me there is something that's been added just now in a new update. And I don't know what it is, and I've decided to go in cold. I've not looked at the patch notes. And because I still don't know how to record video clips in PSVR when you're using a PlayStation 5, I decided to just stream on Twitch. So I definitely have the footage and my reactions. So I believe this is it. Now, to get to Game Cat Island, you need to go to the wall. So normally the game you would play it like this to get the blocks away. So I have to do it in like blocks of 4. And then you can also add blocks. So we're going to push it. If you build them like that, you can push the blocks forward. It's a really fun game. But now, I'm just going to let myself get crushed into the wall. Right. And when this door closes, I press these two buttons. You can't see them. And it takes me to Game Cat Island. Okay. Ah, look. Now I knew about my name. Very nice handwriting as well. So that's really cool. But I've been told something else has been added, which I believe is there. But I don't want to go near it. It's a sword. A sword of some kind. Let me get the jetpack. So. Sword. Okay, we got night music. Oh, okay. Right, I fell out of a castle. I assume with my jetpack I can go back up there. Okay, I'm on the roof. I need to work out how to get back in there. But there are statues. This is hilarious. I've just remembered what it was. So I joked to the developer. I said if I got a platinum trophy, which I haven't yet got, which makes me a bit of a fraud, can I make a request in the game for something to be added? I had a genuine request, but then when he says, oh, as long as it doesn't take too much time. So I then joked something like extreme. I just said, oh, it wasn't much. I was just hoping you could like build a castle with statues of me around it. And he's actually done it. Right. Okay, right, I'm going to have to restart this game so I can get in there again.
Few moments later.
Here it is. Oh my... This is hilarious! Oh my god! This is... Oh my god, I'm not really embarrassed now. So... the dev of this game is absolutely fantastic. He's always in the Game Cats, the PSVR Without Parole Discord, and chatting with the community and adding all these great things like the Game Cat Island. Because, you know, development is it takes time and resources. And then he's actually gone ahead and done it, which is hilarious. Oh wait, what's this say? To all you Game Cats, tubers OU, reviewers, players, friends and family. It's hard to read because I'm actually crying with laughter from this. This is hilarious. I want to thank you for all the support. I would love to keep adding more and more to this, but alas, 'tis time to move on to the next project. Stay safe, and as Myles Dyer would agree, empathise. There we go, Richard M. Smith, Esquire. That's absolutely amazing. What a legend. What an absolute legend. I'm trying to think now. Oh my god. This is so good. an impressive build. And this is how you leave. So there we go. I mean, it's very cool beans. I mean, I felt so bad because he said it took him 4 days to build. But as a creative, he was just tinkering with ideas at first, and he thought, actually, I could do it. And then he said some very kind words to me, but he basically said he was looking for just an asset of me online, and then he found my website, and he didn't know anything about me, and he said, having seen my background of the quest for global empathy and the YouTube stuff, he says he was really inspired, and so he thought it'd be a nice gesture. And I've had really good conversations with him. Really, really cool. I love this. Harry Potter Studio Tour is what, £80? Much better value. Yeah, it is totally class. Boxed In better be #1 on the top 25 for that alone. Yeah, by the way, if you have PlayStation VR or a PlayStation, you can play it on a flat screen. In the UK, it's like £3, £4, and it's like $5. So yeah, if any of you have a PlayStation, yeah, buy it. Support, an independent developer. He has said, as he did in that note, that he now has to move on and make other things. But I mean, what a way to send it off. And then it was just things like he put empathy in Latin. When I saw it, compassio verac, is it? I couldn't remember the last word. I was like, compassio, oh, that's empathy, I think. And then I looked up and I was like, it's amazing. And he saw the video of me on Twitch exploring it all. And he patched it because you saw me at the beginning. I fell out of the castle, and I think it's because I had the jetpack on when I went there. He's patched it all now. And when you create a game or something, especially a virtual reality world, to see someone in it and exploring it, he just said it was amazing. And yeah, really, really nice guy, a UK developer. So yeah, I will plug it and say that Boxed In itself, when you consider it's a very simple game with all the sort of cartoony graphics, and then they've added this realistic island and stuff. But I'm looking forward to PlayStation VR without parole, because they'll probably talk about this new level added, but it's really awkward because it's like, why have they put Myles on a wall on like a framed photo and stuff like that? So yeah, it made my week. It was really funny. Hey Marty, it's good to see you here, man. By the way, it's really lovely to see so many old school faces in here. So yeah, really, really appreciate it. Cool. I'm happy to open this up for Q&A. So feel free to ask me anything. And if you have anything else to add about dealing with anxiety and that. Obviously, there's a lot more I could talk about it. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, but we did about 20 minutes of it. And I am very mindful that I do want to keep these live streams, dead on an hour long, just so there's a bit more of a format to it. And so that when people watch it on replay, it does feel like something worth watching. Because sometimes when you get live shows where there's a lot of just waiting around for people to comment and stuff, it's good in the moment for the live, but it's not so good when it's on replay. So, yeah. My plans for the rest of the week are to confirm a few new guests for my podcast show. I was hoping to get something filmed already this week, but it's just been very difficult with my health issues and stuff. But I'm hoping to get that fixed. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited to be doing more Quest for Global Empathy episodes. The first one of the new pilot went really well. I don't know if any of you saw it, but it was actually about virtual reality with Ana Ibero from Brazil. Amazing friend. And I actually filmed that 2 Wednesdays ago after doing one of these shows. And we started filming at like 11 and finished at like 1:30 in the morning, 2 a.m. And then I edited it on the Thursday and then got it up on the Friday. And view-wise, it didn't do that well. But, I'm very conscious of the fact that this channel has been dormant for a long time. And so it's going to take some time to warm it up, and so I'm really grateful to see lots of familiar faces tuning in. And if you have just jumped in, please do click that like button. You know how it works. It helps with the algorithm and things like that. Are your parents and brother doing well? Yeah, they are. My brother's working on a really cool project that all I'd say is, just if you want to look it up, just search Dice Golem. Dice Golem. It's on most social media. He hasn't really announced anything around it yet. I think they're teasing stuff. He's currently building a workshop, but it looks like it's going to be a kind of Kickstarter thing, and I think it's a really, really cool item. That, yeah, I'm going to say no more on it, but definitely check it out. Is your refrigerator running? Why is there a really loud noise? Or was it a joke about something else that I totally let fly over my head? Linking your two topics together, VR can be really good for dealing with anxiety. That being said, it can also have a complete opposite effect depending on the experience. That's so true, James. And actually a lot the last couple of weeks when I've been dealing with these health issues, because I've not been doing like really hardcore exercises with like my Apple Fitness Plus. I've just been playing VR games that are a bit slower. So I haven't really been playing like the full workout games, but I've been doing stuff like Racket Fury, which is table tennis. I've not been doing much Beat Saber. Because a lot of it warns you at the start if you're feeling dizzy or sick. You know, consult a doctor. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stick to that advice. What is your favourite PSVR game out of curiosity? Mine's got to be No Man's Sky, especially on PS5. Do you know, I only played a little bit on PlayStation 5, but I do need to get back to it. I love No Man's Sky. But every time I return to it, I'm like, I have to learn it again, because they just keep adding so much stuff. I love that. Entirely not an issue. It 100% ends in a bad joke, and you didn't take the bait, so good on you. Way. So Dave Station, for those that don't know, is one of the hosts of PSVR Without Parole on Gamescast. So they're going to be going live in an hour, 15 minutes. So definitely head on over to it. Really great community, great bunch of guys. Just so much love. And as I said, because it has that tight community feel that reminds me of how YouTube was 15 years ago. It's a very special time. And, you know, even if you don't have VR, just the conversations around it and what the societal impacts are, I think are really interesting, because I think virtual reality, you know, we're in the early days yet, and it's only going to get more and more exciting. But sorry, LC2552 Beats, my favourite VR game. I mean, at the moment, that's a really difficult one. It's like when people say, what's your favourite film? Like, I could probably name a few. So, like, if I was to say games I'm really enjoying at the moment in VR, Racket Fury, the table tennis game, is mind-blowing. Like, it just feels like you're playing table tennis, and you're playing with people around the world. And, you know, my living room couldn't fit a table tennis table, never mind a table tennis table in which you're then able to play around, but I've been able to do it. So that's been really, really good. I played Swordsman. Sin Studios, who gave me a code, huge thanks to them. Really, really enjoyed the game, and it's been just some really, really good fun. And then obviously Boxed In, I've actually been enjoying some nice, simple games. There's another VR game I've been playing a bit lately. Yeah, it's not crossing my mind at the moment. Jody was saying, do you get panic attacks, and if what helps pull you out of it? So panic attacks are one of those things sometimes where you don't know what a panic attack is until you have it, and you're like, oh, that's what it is. So about 5 years ago, I started having them after my head injury, and really horrible. You get tunnel vision. You feel the world is caving in on you. I mean, that's a lot of my experiences. You get a lot of physiological stuff. In terms of how I got on it, or got out of it, goes back to what I was saying at the start of the chat, which is, for me, dealing with anxiety or a lot of mental health issues, it's all about where your attention is. And so for me, if you can redirect your attention to something external, it's really important. But like, it's, you know, meditation, mindfulness meditation, it's all about the breath. They call it an anchor. An anchor is something that you bind your conscious state to. So by breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, and just doing that on repeat, you know, you're consciously having to think about your breath, and it's an anchor, and it means it takes you away from the attention of like staring anxiety in the face, which is a horrible thing. And so, yeah, I think breathing exercises is a really good thing. Going for a walk, sometimes I used to go for a run, but yeah, as I said, it's one size fits all is not what it is. So those would be a few examples. The the worst thing for me about panic attacks is that after you've had one, you worry about another one for like a full week, which makes you more anxious. Exactly. And so, Dave, I was saying that what I've been dealing with the last couple of weeks is I've been having like tight chest and shortness of breath and like heart palpitations. I've got like tightness chest here now, and because I've been worrying about it, health anxiety leads to those conditions. So I'm getting some tests with the doctors, but yeah, it's been really tough. And like last night was the first like decent night's sleep I had, and a lot of it is going into the PSVR without parole Discord, going on voice chat until the early hours of the morning when I'm really tired. You know, just chatting with people, getting my mind off stuff, and then realizing that when I put my head, you know, on the pillow, that I'm gonna, you know, pass right out. So yeah, that worrying and it is about breaking the cycle. It really is. And so for me, it's about how do you shift your attention externally. Brain friction, as I call it. If you keep stuff inside your head, it keeps spinning that cycle, and friction means it burns, and it can cause, you know, burnout. It can cause more panic attacks and things like that. Your health anxiety is off the charts. I just assume I'm about to die all the time. Dude, I was saying, when I was worrying about my heart palpitations, I looked online, and it's like, you don't want to do that. Like, you don't want to do any of that. It's like the complete opposite of what my doctor is. My doctor's like, there doesn't seem to be any concerns, but let's just monitor it. Where a part of me is like, what if there's something inside me that I'm not aware of? And, you know, at the end of the day, health is a very important thing, and we shouldn't take it for granted. But there's a balancing act, and sometimes worrying can exacerbate stuff, which is really problematic. So yeah, lots of loves and hugs all around everyone, because you know, it's so much, especially health anxiety. The term I wasn't that familiar with until recently, and then I was like, actually, this is a very common thing. And even like my mum was mentioning, oh yeah, when I was younger, I used to worry about my heart and stuff like that. And you know, we're human beings, and you know, when it comes to the compassion focused therapy and the Compassionate Mind Foundation, the crux of it is we are, you know, primates clinging onto a rock that is spinning through a black, empty void at God knows how many miles per hour, and we're somehow here surviving against the elements of, you know, weather, disease, scarcity. And so, you know, I say all that stuff and it's like, oh shit, that is really bad. But the point is that no, we're how incredible that we are here. And so self-compassion is all about having the courage to acknowledge we do live in a world of suffering, but we are here and we are standing up against it. And so we are courageous, and you know, it's why community is important. It's why it's important we speak to each other, stay open with free-flowing ideas, and just the sharing of experience, because you know, something you've been through will be similar, if not exactly the same as someone else. And just by talking about it, we also shatter the fake reality that social media tends to perpetuate. You know, people think, oh, this is what it is to be anxious because it's how the media portrays it. But you realise actually there's quite a wide range of ways of it being shown. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Dave, and also to Joe and all the others who asked questions, Elsie. I'm happy to take a few more questions before wrapping this up. But in terms of updates, as I've said already, I'm looking to film a new podcast episode in the next couple of days. I'm currently doing some great work for a non-profit organisation that I can't talk about yet, but it's been really, really rewarding. I've been having to design focus groups for young people that I've been conducting online. So actually, when I do my focus groups, it's done with this camera, with this background and stuff. And it's been really, really cool. And just working with young people, it's always great, always really inspiring, and makes me more hopeful about the next generation, because there's a lot of brilliance moving up the ranks. So yes, I think that is going to be it. So unless anyone else has anything left to say, I'm going to sign off. And I still don't have an end card, actually, but although it does say there's an end thing here, this could be it. No, it's not. It's a be right back thing. So I need to design it. I need to design an end card or something like that. So yeah, I just like to say huge love. Do let me know in the comments any other additional thoughts you have, because the live chat obviously closes when I end the live stream, and then it's just the main comment section. So do leave your thoughts there. I love to read comments. I do read them all. I respond when I can or when I think it's appropriate. And do click that like button because it helps the algorithm. So with that said, I will be here same time next week on Wednesday. And if any of you would like to join me in an hour's time, I'm going to be on PSVR Without Parole in their chat. So yeah, that is PSVR Without Parole. Search it on YouTube, and it's just a great community. And be safe, be well. Indeed would be nice. You know, something like that would be good, actually. I will sort of do that. Appreciate it, John. Thank you, good sir. This is... Oh, thanks for sharing. Sorry, I missed the start. No worries at all. You can watch it back, and it's why I'm being really trying to make these succinct live streams so that they are decent to watch on replay. This has been the first live stream of yours I've joined. It has been wonderful and very beneficial from start to finish. We'll keep those notifications on. Thanks, Myles. Appreciate that. Dave, you're too kind, buddy. Tip train caboose. Oh, end card. You meant end card. Got it. Thank you very much, Dave. You're very, very kind. Toot. Cool. So, yeah, I'm going to end it there. Much love to everyone. Please take care of yourself. And as I always say, vitamin G. Every day when you wake up or when you have some time, just think about what you're grateful for. And if it's a thing, just spend some time being mindful about it. And if it's someone, could be a business owner that's treated you well, a small business owner, could be a family member, a friend, or someone that you watch online. Just take the time to send them a message. I do it a lot on Instagram. I actually send a lot of people video messages where I always have to say, I know this isn't the usual way of sending a message, but it's more personal and I don't expect a video message back. And I'll just sort of tell them something that I appreciate about them. And, you know, sometimes they won't like it and that's fine. But a lot of the times they're like, never received something like that. That was very kind and it's made my day. And that's really good because then it encourages them to keep doing the good things they are. And like I mentioned earlier with mental health, we always leave it, or we often leave it until we're in a bad place and then try and dig ourselves out of it. Whereas mental health and well-being is about what tools can we put in place to ensure that we are not going to fall into those traps as much as we would if we didn't, you know, practice those things at all. And it's the same with vitamin G. Often we, you know, tell people what we think of them when, you know, either, you know, we're in trouble or, you know, we feel this is a last chance to say something to someone, when actually showing gratitude when they're actually in their prime and doing great stuff just, you know, keeps them doing more of it. So yeah, words can have huge meaning. And so when you guys show, you know, your appreciation to me on here, it means the world. It really does. So yeah, on that note, I'm going to bid you all good night. Have a great week, and love, respect, and empathy. Bye-bye.